Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you the former #1 most powerful team on PvPoke.com from the last time the data was released. So this team features Garchomp lead, Metagross as your safe switch, and then Togekiss in the back. So this employs the Togekiss 2 shield strat, also using Sand Tomb because with this team you're using Mudshot, Sand Tomb, Garchomp to try to set up like debuff plays. You'll see a lot of instances where I basically like go against Zacian, so this team can still work pretty well, especially with Metagross. Metagross is very strong and has the ability to basically Meteor Mash the holy crap out of your opponent if they have a Zacian or a Togekiss. It's very, very strong. In fact, you're going to see Metagross do a lot of work for this Shoutcast, so I hope y'all enjoy it. So, my mental health tip for the day. I said this before, and this is probably very vital, but make sure y'all get enough sleep. Sleep is good. So even if you work nights or whatever or anything like that, make sure y'all get some sleep. So it's okay if you wake up. I wake up in the middle of the night all the time too. But make sure you're getting the good amount of hours as much as you can. So get as much sleep as you possibly can because it's really, really important. And sleep is really, really good for you. So make sure you get some sleep. Sleep is shown to do you know how when you learn, so for Go Battle League, when you are like just anything in general, when you're like trying to learn things, basically what happens is that you kind of set yourself back if you don't get enough sleep, because that's how we retain memories, is when you get sleep, your brain, like that's basically when it's like processing memories and everything like that. Also, it helps you get enough energy for the day, improves your physical health and your mental health, because if I didn't get enough sleep, I definitely wouldn't be recovering, because I run 10Ks. I work out 7 days a week, so yeah. And then I'm a wrestling coach, so my kids are throwing me around like crazy. And I have to wake up Saturdays for freaking tournaments, 10-hour freaking tournaments, so I can corner and coach and go out, and I have to drive like miles away, or like it's like hours away, which it's not far enough to where I can get like 100k Pokemon so that I can trade them over so I can get XLs guaranteed. So yes, I'm griping about not going to a far enough place where Pokemon Go. So, I'm just kidding. But it is a lot of fun. And so my kids actually play Pokemon Go. So it's like, okay, are they PvP? One of my varsity kids PvP. So he's like, can we battle? Can you practice? Can you show me the way? So I'm like coaching him a little bit. And I'm like, so I coach you in wrestling and I'm coaching you in PvP, which is freaking hilarious. But yes, make sure y'all get some sleep. Because when they don't get sleep, I'm like, did you guys get sleep? And they're like, we had like 5 hours. That's not enough. But yes, but just get as much sleep as you can. Or take naps throughout the day, and make sure, I think you're not supposed to make sure they're not longer than 90 minutes, because you'll wake up really groggy, because past 90 you'll go into rapid eye movement, which is called REM sleep. So mental health tip for the day, get sleep. So hope you guys enjoyed this cast. Again, it features the former #1 team. It's not #1 now, but the good thing about it, it doesn't have any legendaries in it, so it's really strong. Might work for you if you don't have Zacian, Giratina-O, Dialgas. This team has none of that. It has, outside of Togekiss, pretty accessible Pokemon that you can get to level 40, since Garchomp and Metagross have been out for a while. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here are the battles. As you see, we get Garchomp into Zacian. This is terrible for us, especially if this is a player of Zacian. But what we're gonna do here is I'm literally going to wait. I usually wait till they fire, or I do another thing. I'll just straight Sand Tomb and hope that I break shields, because usually the opponent doesn't like losing their Zacian. And because we're using Mudshot here, this is why Mudshot versus Dragon Tail is a pretty good idea. Because what you're able to do here is you're able to eat moves, and hopefully this isn't a player off, because it's gonna suck a lot. Also, close combat doesn't KO our Garchomp. Now, because they want to stay in, we're going to hopefully get some shields here. The goal is to get as many shields as humanly possible, and hopefully we can break it. And as you see here, we don't get a shield still. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, are you just... This is why I hate this thing. It gets to move so godforsakingly quickly, and it just has great coverage. So we're just going to outright sacrifice our Metagross. And then I'm going to farm down with our Metagross. And as you see, I get a Milaletta, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I mean, I've seen this before, but I'm like, You know, with Zarude running around and yeah, like you take neutral damage from ghost type attacks. So it's like, well, not neutral damage. It's still double resisted, but still. Myoletta it's a good mon, but then I'm like, against a Metagross, I'm just laughing. I'm just like, haha! If I was a Thunderbolt, and that does big damage, but still, we should be able to farm down here. That I'm going to make it so I'm able to farm down, and I'll shield another one if they do happen to get to another Thunderbolt, which they do not. We have a loaded Metagross, and we have a Zacian in the back. So, we're wondering what we're doing. Essentially, what we're doing here is we're going to save Togekiss for the Togekiss 2-shield strat. Like I mentioned, Togekiss 2-shield. And we're able to farm down the Zacian, which is terrible for our opponent. They tried to load up, and I don't know why. And we get a Togekiss! So this was a double fairy with a Myoletta, and actually, literally, Metagross is your worst nightmare. This is why you see a lot of if you've watched my top 5 MLC, this is why a bunch of Metagrosses are running around. Because Metagross is pretty busted in this cup against the right matchups, particularly the fairy-type archetypes. With 2 shields down and 2 shields on my side, all I'm gonna do is just go to town against this Togekiss. This is pretty much GG's. All we have to do is fire an Ancient Power, and then all we're gonna do is charm down, and we should win with 2 shields. And I'm like, yay! This is why Master League Togekiss is so godforsakingly broken. Sadly, we don't get the boost, but still, 1 charm should be enough to take out this Togekiss, and that's GG's. That was nutty. Not really. It was just like, okay. And now we got legend on legend action, and I'm like, oh crap. So this is gonna be really sweaty. And hopefully we get error 6. And I was like, really, dude? Really, bro? Really, dude? Really, dude? So I try to go back into it, and it like errors me out, and I'm just like, really, dude? It's so annoying. Like, I just want to freaking play my games, please. So, for our next battle, we wait up, and we're like, okay. So, the last match was pretty nuts. We lost that lead pretty hard because even though you do have a mud shot, as you saw there, we had to sacrifice Garchomp. But sacrificing Garchomp in the lead actually made it so that Zacian can go to town. So it was pretty good. And now we're waiting for our second opponent. I deeply apologize because I totally forgot. I'm like, oh, I forgot. It freaking froze. So, this isn't great. But I should be getting an opponent soon. And as you see, we finally do. I don't understand why these queue times are so bad. I mean, there's a reason I dodged the leaderboard so I can finish my sets because I don't have time to wait inside a queue all day. And we get another Zacian! I'm like, God, mother of mercy, of course. Would I really expect you to be spicy? No. Use everything overpowered. Absolutely overpowered. Everything. You just use everything overpowered. Meta is meta. Just use meta. Easy dubs. At least if things line up, just because Master League is so chaotic. Same play like I did before, straight Sand Tomb, and hopefully we can use the Gara Sand Attack. Well, no, like, if Gara had a Pokemon, and yes, I'm talking Naruto, so if you're an anime nerd, we can be friends. Gara's Pokemon would definitely be Garchomp, because you know that Sand Tomb. And we get a Dialga. So I'm kind of like scratching my head here, because I'm like, okay, what the hell do I do? So I'm going to attempt to bait. My opponent already knows I have Sand Tomb, so they're probably not going to shield this, or hopefully we grab a shield, which would be great, and we do grab a shield. I switch into Metagross because what I want to do here is that I want to get enough energy and that I resist both Draco Meteor and Iron Head. I'm going to shield this one because this is probably a Draco Meteor, and it is a Draco Meteor. And then I was like, yo, I got it. What's great about this is I essentially can I can overfarm and I don't have to shield anything. I'm firing now because one Meteor Mash won't actually kill this Dialga. So I'm like, alright, cool. This Dialga should live. And I should be able to bullet pinch down, have a bazillion energy. No matter what move they throw at this point, I should be able to resist it. And -2 attack thanks to the Draco Meteor. We're vibing pretty hard right now. So, this should be an Iron Head. It is, and we take very little damage from it because this Dialga is debuffed. Now we have all this energy for the Zacian and whatever is in the back, and it happens to be a Landorus. And I'm like, this is actually very, very, very bad for us. Because with Landorus resists our Garchomp's attack. So I have to send Metagross here. Metagross has to go to town. I have to be careful though, because my opponent can sack. So I'm like, are you going to sack? Are you going to sack? So as you see, that's why I'm tapping on the side. I swap in a Togekiss to try to snipe down this Landorus. I think I caught like a superpower. So I was like, watch, yes! Oh, I caught the super. This was so much disrespect. Our opponent's going to throw in the Zacian in an attempt to wild charge me down. Fun fact, wild charge won't kill at this range, but I'm going to shield anyways. Just so I can get that extra charm damage. and force that shield, as you see here. Yes, one Wild Charge actually won't kill in the green, thankfully. One Wild Charge goes off, won't kill the Togekiss. We should be able to charm down for the dub, and then all we have to do is just one more charm, and our opponent will die with a shield. Sorry, fellow legend. That was... Dang, that was flexed hard. I wasn't even counting. I was like, dang. Jeez. For the next match, we do have a legend, but... However, what you're about to see is that... Okay, so this opponent is using Nidoqueen, and I'm like, wait, what? Nidoqueen? Which, I'm like, it's not a bad pick because it does well against the fairy types, but we get Giratina chopped into us, and all we're going to do is charm it down. Charm City, absolute charmage. And what's going to happen is that I'm just going to eat all these moves because what's going to happen is that Nidoqueen is going to line up against my Togekiss. Poison Jabs will do heavy damage. I'm going to shield the Shadow Ball here, though. I'm not going to shield the next move. I'm just going to farm this thing down because our Garchomp has a very, very strong matchup against that Nidoqueen. So, just going to let this go. Even if Shadow Ball doesn't actually kill in the green. And we should be able to get to Charm down. So, one Charm. As you see here, it doesn't kill in the green. We get the one Charm in. And now we should be able to hit a Flamethrower on this Nidoqueen. They may or may not elect a shield. That's okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to, they have shield advantage though. So, this should take away their shield advantage unless our opponent elects to just eat this Flamethrower. This is going to be hot. Drop it like it's hot. If you know that song, dang. It's an old song, but it's a good song. So, yeah, drop it like it's hot. Anyways, as you see, we're going to just send in Garchomp, and Garchomp, ground is strong against poison types. So, this is going to be great for us. And then we see a fairy, and I'm like, oh, this sucks for you because we have Metagross, and our opponent should quit out because this is absolute GG's. Because, remember how I told you Metagross destroys the fairy types? Well, if you love seeing fairy types get destroyed, you are going to love this battle. So, yeah, you're gonna absolutely... Oh my gosh. So this team is really strong, but like I mentioned in the beginning, it's really wonky to play. It is the former top-class most powerful team, but because of all the Togekiss leads running around, etc. Well, Togekiss leads, etc. and Garchomp leads just really tricky to play nowadays, especially with Mudshot, because of all the flyers around, particularly Ho-Oh and Lugia. And we get a Charm! And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is I'm sending in... If you lose a lead, you have two choices. One, save switch with Metagross, or two, throw your own Charmer into the Charmer, which is I usually do. Because what happens here is it turns into an IV-dependent matchup. So, what you can do here is win switch and pray that... Basically, pray. So as you see, Ancient Power goes off. My opponent made a mistake though, because if you fire first and I fire, I get a move. So this Ancient Power is going to go off. And then what's going to happen is that I should be able to get a Charm and take out their Togekiss, keeping my switch, as you see here. And because I 1 HP'd in a dream, no, literal 1 HP in a dream from that Charm, my opponent sends in another Charmer. And I'm like, oh, this is like immediately my charm senses were tingling. If you haven't watched the new Spider-Man, by the way, I heavily recommend you do it. It's such a good movie. No spoilers. Such a good movie. Tell me in the comments how much you loved it, because I freaking loved it. Man, they outdid themselves. But I'm just going to farm down this Gardevoir because I'm like, bro, like, I already can sense it. Like, this is totally triple charm. There's only one reason why I have a Togekiss and a Gardevoir together, because guess what? You have triple charm. So, I predicted the back is probably going to be a Sylveon. As you see, they try to synchronize, but it doesn't even matter because it's a... Watch it. It's a Sylveon. And they should either quit out right away or just going to let this through because they're like, GG's, bro. Mad GG's. And that's total GG's. And I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. Thankfully, you got to enjoy the annihilation of a freaking triple charm team. And it was just sweet. I was going to send in Garchomp just to, like, slap it down because, you know, every Charmer deserves to be half-band, backhand, and I hope you all enjoyed the battles. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As you see, a non-legendary team like this can work. I think Dragon Gel Garchomp can work, etc. But because of so many Dragon Breath users and Mudshot energy generation, I think Mudshot's the better answer. You could play around with the charge moves too. You can use Earth Power. Earth Power can work as well. But I like the way Sand Tomb can set you up to help you farm down like you saw in these battles over here. So I'm guessing that's the way the team generally works. It used to be the former #1 team, and it actually was being used by a lot of people simming. Not a lot, like 0.8 isn't a lot, but it still had a pretty sizable sample size and did really well. So, the former most powerful team might still do well because it's literally the same meta from last time. Very minimal changes other than Zarude coming out, which is just, yeah, freaking dark monkey. I don't know why they're like, nothing makes sense. Like the way the rollout doesn't make sense as far as new Pokemon go. And we're running out of Pokemon to roll out, so I'm guessing in the next 2 or 3 years, Pokemon's gonna run out of, or Pokemon Go is gonna have to hopefully adjust and do something different, because y'all are gonna run out of Pokemon to promote. So maybe Pokemon Go 2 will be out. Well, no, they're too lazy. We're talking about Niantic here. There's no way they improve the game that much. I mean, look at Master League. It's literally been the same brain dead meta for the past like 2 freaking years. It's never changed, including the preseason, by the way. So 2+ years if you think about it. But Master League Classic, if you have a team that you like, it probably worked. Other than that, this team might help you climb. It did pretty decent for me. It's like a decent, I would say, but that's just Master League Classic. This Master League Classic is very rock, paper, scissory and very merciless, just because the meta is just so powerful. So you can run into a bunch of things. There's some things that can work, some things not. Do the one that works for you the most. If you don't have legendaries, again, this team can work for you just because it has no legendaries and they're pretty accessible. Outside of Togekiss, Metagross, and Garchomp have both had community days. So hopefully you have them, and hopefully they do well for you. Do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily subscribe. You see my little Charmans right here. I should make an arrow sign that says like, hey, please subscribe here. Please, it's totally free. Just put your mouse over it and the sub tab will easily pop up. Really appreciate my current subscribers. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.